You can draw this in Procreate. We are going to use some super fun watercolor brushes in Procreate to create this nice fall landscape. It's super easy. I will guide you through all the steps so you will end up with a Flotastic result. What you need is a canvas of 2300 pixels by 3000 pixels, and I have left a free color palette down in the description. So if you're ready, let's get started. All right, first let's pick a brush. We will go to the brush library and then to paints, and then we'll use the Winkly brush. And for our color, let's start with this one, fourth color in the first row. Now for this brush, the opacity is at 100% and the size is at 42 or somewhere around that number. And now we are going to create a couple of hills. So let's just start like this and create a hill shape like this. And it's okay if there are some gaps, if you see a little bit of texture. That's the whole point of this brush. So let's go for something like this. Then we'll make another layer on top of this. So we'll tap the plus and then we'll go for another color. Let's go for this one, fifth color in the first row, and then we'll make another one over here, overlapping the first one. Just something like this. Then we'll make another layer, we'll tap the plus, and your hills don't have to look the exact same as mine, of course. Then let's pick this color, 8th color in the first row. And let's make this one overlap like this. Then we'll make another layer, tap the plus. This time I'd like to use this color, 9th color, nice orangey color. Let's make a hill over here. So very simple process, very relaxing. You don't have to look the exact same as mine. Then I'd like a few layers in between these two. So we'll go to this layer, then we'll tap the plus. And then for the color, I'd like something brownish. Let's pick this color, 6th color in the first row. And let's make a hill like this. And then let's put another one on top. Let's tap the plus, and then let's use this color. That's the 7th color in the first row. And let's put that here. Then let's make a new layer on top of this one. At the top, let's tap the plus, and let's use this lighter color again, 8th color in the first row. Let's create a hill over here. You don't have to go all the way down. Just something like this. Then another one, let's tap the plus, and then let's pick this color, 6th color in the second row, to make another shape here. Then let's tap the plus again, another layer. Let's go for something orangey again. Let's use this one, 9th color in the first row. And let's make a hill like this. And then finally one at the top. Let's tap the plus and let's go for something darker, the 10th color in the first row. And let's make a hill shape like this from the left all the way to the right. color that in like this. Next, I'd like to create a sky. Let's make a layer at the bottom. Let's tap the plus and then tap and hold this layer and move it all the way to the bottom. Then for our brush, I'd like to go to what's it doing? I don't know. Let's go to the watercolors brushes and use the cascade brush. And for the color, well, let's start with this one. First color in the first row. Opacity of this brush is at 100%, size at 32. Well, let's go for 30. And then let's darken this upper right area. Add some dark touches. And then let's switch to the second color in the first row. And then let's make some cloud-like shapes. It's a bit rounded. Something like this. And I want this to look very painterly. So make it a bit messy. It's all fine. And we can also switch to the third color in the first row to add lighter strokes. So just some of these like semicircles, creating this cloud-like effect. It's a bit like a stormy cloud. Then I'd like to use this brush to also add some color variety to our hills. And when we paint on our hills, we don't want to go outside of the shape. So what we can do is turn on alpha lock on these layers. Now you can tap the layer and then turn on alpha lock, or you can use 2 fingers and slide to the right on the layer, and then alpha lock will be turned on. You can see that it has this checkerboard pattern on the layer thumbnail. So let's start with this one in the back, and we'll just pick some colors that are close to what we already have here. So we can go a little bit darker, like with this color, 6th color in the second row. Now we can go over here. Maybe we can make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's go for 50%. You can go over here, add some of this texture, and we can also pick a lighter color, which is also pretty close, 8th color in the first row. And just create some of these strokes just to get like an extra painterly effect. And we'll do that for all of these layers. So let's go to this one here. I'd like to go a little bit darker. We could pick this color, for instance. That's the 7th color in the first row. Go over here, add some of that. We can also use some of this brown color, 6th color in the first row. And if you want to go a little bit lighter, you can pick this color again. That's the 6th color in the second row. Just gently go over there so you get a nice texture. Then for the next one, let's just add a slightly darker touch with the 4th color here. Just some texture. And you can also pick that local color again, that lighter color. Put some lighter touches back in. And then onto the next one. So you don't have to follow my instructions like completely. Let's go for 6th color in the second row here. For me, in any case, you can pick your own colors. Just pick something that is close. You really have some freedom here. Then to the next one. Here I'd like to go for maybe a lighter gray, like this 5th color in the first row. Just add a little bit of that here, just for that texture. Then this one here, I'd also like to add a little bit of a lighter touch, like maybe this color. That's the 4th color in the first row. I want to go even lighter. Let's pick this one, 8th color in the first row. You can experiment a little bit with this. Just see how the paint flows. I like this. On to the next one. Here we can add some darker touch first, like the fourth color in the first row. Get some of these nice strokes. Then to the next one, layer 8 here. We can actually use this color. Add a touch of light. I like that. Then the next one, let's pick this light color again, 8 color in the first row. Just some strokes. And as you can see, I'm following that flow of the hill. So I'm following that curve. I'm not making lines like this, you know, like some diagonal. Just follow that flow of the hill. And then onto the final one over here. Let's add some of this 9th color in the first row. Yes, that looks nice. Just having fun with these brushes. For the next step, we are going to add trees to our scene. So let's make a layer on top of these hills in the background. So that's these two. Now let's go here and tap the plus. And then we are going to use the selection tool. That's the S shape ribbon. Set it to freehand. And then right here in the sky, make a bit of a wobbly shape. A bit like oval. One here, and we can make some smaller ones over here. Maybe it can be even bigger. And some here. So just a little bit wonky. And one over here. Something like this. Then pick your brush. And then we'll pick some colors. So let's start with this 4th color in the 2nd row. And then we'll just go over here and fill that shape with this nice watercolor. So also do it here. And then I'd like to switch to a warmer color, the 3rd color in the 2nd row. And we are going to mix some of this at the bottom. You can hold your pen on your screen to mix those colors here as well. And we could even add a touch of brown for some. Let's go for this color, perhaps 6th color in the 1st row. Add a little bit to the bottom here. And a little bit over here. I think this looks nice. Then let's go to the layer menu and also make a tree layer on top of this layer. So first tap layer 1, then tap the plus, and then let's go to the selection tool again, tap it and tap it again to make a new selection, and then make a selection right behind this tree. Something like this. Then pick your brush. Then pick a color. Let's go for something yellowish. 5th color in the 2nd row. And then fill the shape. And then let's pick something slightly darker. The 4th color in the 2nd row. And go over that underside a little. Mix that in like this. And then tap the magic wand. No, not the magic wand. The S shape ribbon again. I hope you're having fun so far. I just wanted to let you know about the tutorial that has just dropped at Patreon. In case you want to dive into realism, then I think you will love this tutorial in which we will paint toadstools. It's actually pretty easy to get a fantastic result. And along with this tutorial, you will find more than 250 others at my Patreon. So if you haven't checked that out yet, I will leave a link for you down in the description. It will be great to see you there. But now let's continue. Next, for some more trees, let's go on top of this layer to layer 6, then tap the plus, then go to the selection tool And let's make one that is overlapping this one a bit. Like this, and maybe one over here that is a bit smaller. Yeah, something like this. Or well, you can just adjust it for as long as you like, actually. Then tap the brush. Then let's go for a light color for this tree. That 8 color in the first row. Fill that in. Then let's go for something slightly darker, 4th color in the first row along that underside. And then for this one, I want to go a little bit warmer. Let's pick the 3rd color and the 2nd row. Fill that in. Then let's add a touch of brown with the 6th color in the 2nd row. Along that underside. That looks nice. And then tap the S shape ribbon again. So right now our trees, they are just floating around. We can add tree trunks. Let's go to this layer first. You can work on this layer directly, or you can make a new layer on top depending on how much layer space you have. Now let me tap the plus. And then for the brush, let's go to the inks and then use the nowhere else. And for the color, we'll pick this one, 2nd color in the 2nd row. Now the opacity of this brush is at 100%, size is at 50. And then let's start here and then make a line going up. And then use less pressure as you move to the outside. So the harder you press, the thicker your line will be. And I'll switch to a smaller size, 20%, for some of these smaller branches. Just a very simple tree shape. Just go for something like this. And then when you're happy, you can pinch these together so that the tree trunk and the foliage is on one layer. Now let's go here, tap the plus, and then again, let's first set the size to 50% and make a tree trunk over here, thicker at the bottom and then thin as you move out. And also for these smaller ones, we can make the brush smaller, actually 20%. Let me remove this. I want these to be nice and thin. And also here. And for this one over here. Some small side branches. And also for this, of course, you can add some more branches. Just make sure that at the ends they are thinner than near the tree trunk. All right, then on to the next one. Again, if you're happy, you can pinch these together. Then move on to these trees. Let's tap the plus. And then again, let's first make the brush bigger, 50%. And make this tree trunk. Very little pressure. Then let's go smaller to 20% and add all those side branches. Just like this. And now we have this one. Keeping it simple. And then pinch them together. Now we just need some trees in the foreground. Let's go to this layer and then tap the plus. Then go to the selection tool again. Let me zoom out a little bit. Let's make a tree shape over here. And let's make a big one over here. And maybe we can add some smaller ones over here. Then let's go to the brush. We need to go to the watercolors brushes again, to the cascade brush. And then let's pick this color, third color, and the second row. Let's fill these shapes. And of course, we also need some variety. Let's pick some of this color, ninth color in the first row. A little bit over here, a little bit of light, perhaps a bit over here, and here at the top. And then let's pick some brown. Let's pick this color. That's the sixth color in the second row. Put some of that at the bottom. I think we can go even darker. Let's pick this color, sixth color in the first row. A little bit of that on the underside. Maybe a tiny bit here. I think that looks nice. Then tap the S shape ribbon again. Then we need tree trunks here, so let's tap the plus. Let's go to our brushes, to the inks for the nowhere else. And this time for the color, let's pick this one. First color in the second row, slightly darker. Now let's first start at 50% in size and create a tree trunk. And just the major branches. And for this one as well. And once you have those, you can make the brush smaller, set it to 20%. And then again, create all those side branches. Like this, and then we have these small little bushes. Keep it simple. And then the side branches for this one. All right, now for some final touches. Let's place some leaves here in the foreground. Let's first pinch these together. Then let's go to the top. Let's tap the plus, and then let's use the selection tool again. This time, let's make some leaf-like shapes. Just something like this. Then we can go to the brushes again, to the watercolors, to the cascade. And for the color, we'll use this one. 7th color in the 2nd row. And just go over here. Fill that in. And then let's turn off the selection. And now let's add some detail there. Let's make a layer on top of this. Let's tap the plus. And then for the brush, let's go to the pens and use the bronze wing. And for the color, let's go for this one. 4th color in the 1st row. Opacity is at 100%, size at 50. And let's make some of these lines like this. Just these leaf veins. I do feel like they stand out a little bit too much, so we can just pinch these 2 layers together, then set this layer to alpha lock, then go back to our other brush, to the watercolor brush, the cascade, pick that 7th color in the 2nd row again, and then just gently go over here to fade it a little bit, to blend it in. I'd like to add a little bit of grass to our scene and maybe some birds. So let's tap the plus at the top. Let's go back to that pen, to the bronze wing. And let's just pick a variety of colors. Let's start with this one maybe. 5th color in the 1st row. And let's add some grass. I don't want it to stand out too much. So let's also pick this color, 4th color in the 1st row. And let's just create some simple stylized grass. It really nicely fits the whole style. So just some nice grass on this hill in the front, a little bit over here, maybe a few here. We can go a little bit smaller as we move to the background. Let's also use this color, 10th color in the 1st row. We can have some here on this edge. Perhaps over here. Like I said, go a little bit smaller as you move to the background. All the way in the back, we can just leave that empty. Maybe we can also use this color, 6th color in the 1st row. But of course, feel free to experiment here. All the colors work really well together. I like that. Then let's also add a few birds. They are, I guess they are fleeing for the storm. Let's use this color, 1st color in the 2nd row. And for birds, we can keep it really simple. Just these V shapes with like a little extra thickness where the lines meet. That's where the body is. So just some very simple birds. And there we have our watercolor fall landscape. I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time for the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.